Today, caught on camera.
A desperate suspect trying to get away, now back on the freeway.
California Highway Patrol in a dangerous high-speed pursuit. The fleeing driver pushing that red Dodge over 100 miles an hour. The unusual want that started it all.
Tinted windows. That is what we're understanding is the want here, though you have to believe there may well be more to this.
Then
they are pacing him pretty closely here, and likely a situation where if they are given the opportunity to pit this guy, they're going to do it.
a multi-agency pursuit is on in Anaheim as a reckless driver flees in a white Buick Sedan with multiple passengers inside. What happens when the driver pulls into a shopping center parking lot?
I don't think he has any.
When every second counts and every decision could be life or death. Watch these incidents unfold from KTLA's Eye in the Sky. This is Caught on Camera.
CHP is in pursuit of a suspect wanted for a window tint violation.
Gil Davis overhead in Sky 5. Gil.
Sharon, Micah, this one was a tough one to track down. It's been moving very fast on the freeway system and surface streets. You see that Charger or Challenger there, red in color. He's been running red lights. Here he goes right through that. Well, that was a green light, but he's through that intersection, continuing northbound here on La Cienega. Again, now this all started with the California Highway Patrol trying to pull this vehicle over on the 105 freeway in South LA. This vehicle might have been coming from a street takeover in that area around 120th and Main, where there was a shooting call there as well. But the vehicle here continuing on surface streets. The vehicle actually made its way onto the 105 freeway to the 405 freeway and made its way through the area of the LAX area, I should say, and then got onto here La Cienega heading northbound. So CHP units trying to get units back behind it once again, and this vehicle is definitely running red lights and driving very erratic at high speeds.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous high speeds here on La Cienega going northbound, and as he continues to go north, it will become a little bit more congested, especially on a Friday night, making that turn and turning off of La Cienega now and onto Venice Boulevard, which could give him a little bit more room there. But nonetheless, the want for this unusual, we were saying, Micah, that we haven't really heard of a want for something like this with tinted windows.
No, I mean, obviously you can be pulled over for that, and it has happened. It does happen, but to hear somebody running based on that is highly unusual. Again, as Gil mentioned, this may well be a suspect that may have been involved in a street takeover near 120th and Main in Los Angeles. We do not know for certain. That is not confirmed, but we do know that it is a window tint violation at the very least. And again here now, a desperate suspect trying to get away now back on the freeway, heading eastbound on the 10, Gil?
That is correct. Headed towards downtown LA right now, in and out of traffic. We did hear the call come out of a shooting at that street takeover, 120th and Main Street. And then a short time after that, that's when the pursuit broke out. So we're not sure if it came from that street takeover or not. As I zoom in here, you can see the windows are heavily tinted. Really difficult to see inside all the way around this vehicle. So that's the reason why the CHP tried to pull it over, and it really just took off on them going 100 miles an hour plus on that 105 freeway towards the 405 freeway. Went north on the 405 freeway, got off on surface streets, made its way onto the Marina freeway for a time, and then made its way here to the 10 now, in and out of traffic. The traffic is pretty moderate to heavy here on the 10 freeway right now.
Moderate to heavy, and he's making some really close calls right now, splitting lanes and weaving in and out of lanes with these cars. And at one point, it looked like he almost hit 100 miles per hour here on the 10 freeway. Again, he's going eastbound here on the 10 freeway, making his way towards downtown Los Angeles as he's going from lane 1 all the way to 5 and back and forth, and trying to take over the other cars that are just, minding their own business, not knowing what's coming for them. Do we have any units behind him, or are we just following him and tracking him from the air?
let me come out wider here. I don't want to lose him. Yeah, there's a unit there that's in trail trying to keep up with the vehicle. You see him in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I don't want to lose the vehicle here, but there comes the night sun of the CHP helicopter. Might be LAPD actually helicopter that's overhead. That's helping the CHP with this, but in and out of traffic, that CHP unit having to deal with all that traffic as well to try to keep up with this vehicle. And you see him going, like I said, almost 100 miles an hour.
And this is going to be difficult for law enforcement with a driver moving at 100 miles an hour plus on the freeway as he heads into downtown Los Angeles. Congestion will increase. Remember, it's a Friday night, and it tends to be busier on the freeway on the weekends. On a Friday night at this hour, it can be very busy, which obviously increases the level of danger here for the motoring public, for the suspect as well, for law enforcement. Hard to say how many people may be in this vehicle. Again, the tinted windows, that is what we're understanding is the want here, though you have to believe there may well be more to this. As we've been reporting, there was a shooting call that came in very close to a street takeover at 120th and Main, and shortly after that shooting call, this pursuit began. So it moves now eastbound on the 10 to the 110, and may well go northbound, Gil, or southbound.
Well, let's see here. He's going to make that decision here. We're waiting to see which direction. It looks like, yeah, CHP is trying to decide. It looks like he's going to be committed eastbound 10 here. That he could have taken that right split there and gone south 110, but he looks like he's going to stay on the 10 eastbound towards the East LA interchange.
Right, yeah.
And he's pulling away from us.
Yeah, as you know, that part of the 10 freeway splits off, and you can take that side that he took and avoid some traffic during some pretty heavy rush hour times. But he's back on the 10 here now, making his way closer to downtown Los Angeles. And with the want being these tinted windows, we can't see anything that's going on inside there. We don't know how many people are in there. And as you mentioned, Gil, you said that this originated most likely, from what we understand and from what the reports are from law enforcement, that it is from a street takeover in the one that was on 120th and Main, and that a shooting at the street takeover may have occurred. Although what we understand, Gil, is that the want is just the tinted windows, but obviously they're trying to, flee for greater reasons than that.
Absolutely. A lot of times the vehicles will, whoa, he hit the bump there coming off the freeway. Let's see here. He's exiting the freeway, and he's going to be turning southbound here on Griffith, I believe it is, or 17th Street. And he's going to continue here on surface streets just in the downtown LA area. And he's going to make that sweeping right turn. There's the CHP. Blacked out the headlights. There's the airship overhead, lighting him up. And he's going to continue on Washington here. Let's see, if he continues here, he's going to be able to go back towards the 110 freeway.
Yeah, just so dangerous on surface streets with no lights and at very high speeds as well. They're spending a lot of time on the freeway here and now into the downtown LA area for the first time. Again, the want is tinted windows on this Dodge Charger or Challenger as the suspect runs from law enforcement at very high speeds and has no intention of stopping here, clearly. And you wonder as well, Gil, if law enforcement would continue at this clip if the want was merely tint.
Yeah, there might be more to this. For sure, you'd think that you would just pull over, take the ticket, fix your tint, and be done with it. But no, risking a nice car like this, it seems like there's got to be more to it. He's making a turn here. He's going to make a loop around back towards Washington. So he didn't go back onto the freeway. Maybe he doesn't know how to get on the freeway at this point. But here he comes back out towards Washington, and he's made a full circle now, coming back westbound towards the 110 freeway.
Yeah, the night sun right on him, and you know, that CHP officer behind in the black and white is doing their best to keep up with him and doing a pretty good job considering the speeds here on the surface streets, at one point going up to 70 miles per hour. It looks like he's in a fairly desolate part of downtown nearby the freeway, and now making his way back onto the 10 freeway eastbound, I believe.
Yeah, blacked out onto the freeway. Again, eastbound 10 freeway. He's got the East LA interchange once more to contend with, and desperate to get away for sure. We'll see what happens up ahead at the East LA interchange. I know there's been some construction in the area, overnight construction. We'll see if there's issues with that. But continuing here on the 10 freeway, weaving in and out of traffic, getting close to some of the cars there. Very dangerous for those drivers, not knowing what's coming from behind. And
a lot of potential options for the driver here. 10 eastbound, continuing, potentially the 60 eastbound. Of course, the 5 freeway as well is an option, and potentially back up toward the 101. But this is going to be a challenge for law enforcement here when you come up on an intersection with a driver moving like this. Although they're back far enough to be able to react to anything this driver might do last minute. But look at these speeds now, over 100 miles an hour. Very dangerous, no headlights on. So dangerous for drivers who obviously don't expect something like this, and without headlights may not see it. And so many times we see people pull right in front of a driver like this, not expecting it, not seeing it. It can be a violent situation, a violent collision potentially. As he approaches this East LA interchange. The 5 and the 60 are the options here, and CHP right on his tail.
Boy, look at that, weaving in and out. CHP is saying, I'm here, we're not going anywhere, we're going to pull you over. So we'll see if the driver does comply and give up here, but he's going to go through that gore point last second, that officer making it through as well, and he's going to be, I believe this is South 5 freeway, let's see. I believe it's going to be South 5 from the 10 here.
That was a
he might have blown a tire when he went over that gore point.
Yeah, looks like he's starting to slow down, and that's the first time that we've seen that. So there might be something wrong with the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went through that gore point, and I think it was slightly raised or something. He definitely hit a bump there. The car jolted, and now he's slowing down to a stop. It looks like it's going to be over here on the 5 freeway transition, the 10 east to the 5 south.
Boy, that was very intense watching this just for the last, less than 10 minutes. And we see the suspect now coming out of the car. Let's see if there are other people that are inside this car as well. Yeah. Closing the door.
Realizing there was nowhere to go and nothing to do. That was a very dangerous transition there at the last moment, diving over to the 5 southbound. That could have gone wrong in so many different ways, but CHP right there, and fortunately CHP was able to make that move as well and react and get over to those 5 southbound lanes at the last moment. And this suspect, still unclear whether there might be anyone else in the car, but there's your driver, wanted initially, from what we understand, for a window tint violation. And now the suspect is in custody with the CHP. Unsure again whether there's anyone else in the car, but a very dangerous situation coming to an end. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Fortunately, no one was hurt. There we go. We do have another person in the car. It looks like it is a woman. And so, gosh, you can only imagine what it was like being a passenger with all that erratic and reckless driving that was happening not only on the freeways but also on surface streets, and at the high speeds, over 100 miles per hour, splitting lanes and nearly clipping other drivers on the freeway. Just absolutely terrifying to see what had happened and transpired in the last 10 minutes here. But we now have a female passenger in custody.
It looks like they're trying to clear that car and to make sure there's no one else inside the car, but your suspect is in custody. The female passenger is in custody, and a very dangerous situation that could have been so much worse. Fortunately, no one was hurt, as law enforcement now moves in to clear the suspect vehicle. You can see those tinted windows there. There's the passenger door. That's the violation that CHP is indicating to media is the want here. Tinted window violation. It looks as though everything's clear in the back of that car. Suspect in custody. Fortunately, no one was hurt.
Yes, LA County Sheriff's deputies are in pursuit of a reckless driver.
Here it is, live pictures coming in. Let's go to Mark Kono. He's overhead in Sky 5. Mark?
Yeah, check in. We're at 3200. I've got you just north of you about a mile.
Mark Kono, can you hear us?
Okay, as you can see, this pursuit is in Anaheim at the moment. Brookhurst Street at West Harley Avenue. And that black and white unit, as we said, with the LA County Sheriff's Department, is in pursuit. Mark, can you hear us?
5 just north of here, about half mile.
Okay, it sounds like Mark can't hear us.
Hey
Let's
guys,
try.
Good
there we go.
afternoon. I don't know if we're up or not,
Yes.
but here we go. Coming to you guys. We are in Anaheim right now on a pursuit, an LA County Sheriff's pursuit of a reckless driver that began about 30 minutes ago. Not too far from here. We are now in central Orange County, southbound on Brookhurst Street. Maintaining a pretty high rate of speed at this point here. We have heard him at speeds in excess of 50 to 60 miles an hour on surface streets, and that never bodes well for for folks who might be traveling on surface streets here. Now, for a time, he was on the 91 freeway before exiting in the Anaheim area, not too far from Knott's Berry Farm here. He was traveling through Cerritos and now in towards Buena Park and now Anaheim here. He has made a westbound turn and is going to be heading out of the Anaheim area in towards areas like Garden Grove if he proceeds on this track. Now, as you can see, it looks like a white Buick here, a white four-door sedan, and he is being pursued by at least, by my count, 3 to 4 units of the LA County Sheriff's Department here. It looks like they are getting in a little bit closer proximity here, perhaps in an effort to pit this driver if the opportunity presents itself. So I've got the visual on him outside, Rich. I've got him here, and it looks like they're kind of pacing him pretty closely here, and it looks like he's going to come up on that driver's side bumper, and should that vehicle slow down, that's going to give him an opportunity to pit him. But he's now coming up on an intersection, guys, where he is going to have to slow down at this point here, and to avoid that one cruiser, he had made a quick right turn. So now he's on a major street making a right turn on Catella now eastbound on Catella, heading back in towards the Anaheim area here. So you can see that they are pacing him pretty closely here, and likely a situation where if they are given the opportunity to pit this guy, they're going to do it. Now, from what I gather here, initial reports have this as many as 3 suspects inside of the vehicle here, so a driver and possibly at least 2 passengers here. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now, on top of the reckless driving and the multitude of moving violations. We don't know what additional violations that this guy may be looking at once he does stop, or once he does give up, or once they do get this guy to stop. So that is going to be something that we will be looking towards over the course of the next several minutes here. Hopefully they will be able to get this guy to pull over here. It's an aggressive attempt, I will say, with several units behind him at this point here. So although he is traveling at a very high rate of speed, he does not want to stop, he does not want to slow down, and he does not certainly want to get caught. So this is going to be something we're going to be watching for the next few minutes here, guys. Let me send it back down to you.
Yeah, Mark.
Just cross through the intersection here.
Yeah, Mark, question for you. We're reporting that the LA County Sheriff's Department is in pursuit of this vehicle, of course, being in Anaheim and Gordon Grove.
Okay.
It's in Orange County. Is that, in fact, the Sheriff's Department that's chasing the vehicle?
Pulled into a parking lot. Okay, he's pulled into a parking lot, guys. As you can see, it looks like he's just using that to transit through here.
Ooh,
I don't think he has any intention to stop, but from what you can tell, from what we can tell up here in Sky 5 HD, he's just using the parking lot to kind of cut the corner there. So that's kind of what he's up to right now. And now he's made another southbound turn another southbound turn. He's going to be back on Euclid Street. Now, he was on Euclid Street just a short while ago. He's traveled on Euclid, he's traveled on Brookhurst, he's traveled on Catella, among some of the other streets, western, if you know Orange County here, not too far from Knott's Berry Farm and heading in towards Anaheim. These are some of the streets that he has been traveling, so perhaps an indication that he may be familiar with the area. We just don't know, so something that we will be watching. But as you can see, he is now making an eastbound turn in towards a parking lot. It looks like a carport. It looks like a shopping center, a strip mall, and it looks like he's going to park that car here.
The white Buick, with as many as 3 suspects inside, now parked at that Anaheim shopping center as sheriff's patrol units approach, boxing the sedan in. The dramatic conclusion next.
As you can see, he is now making an eastbound turn in towards a parking lot. It looks like a carport. It looks like a shopping center, a strip mall, and it looks like he's going to park that car here. So he's going to park the car. I don't know if we have any. Okay, there's the first law enforcement unit pulling right up here, and it looks like someone's coming out of the driver's door. He's going to box him in. There you go. He is going to box him in. Deputies approaching, guns drawn. Show me your hands. That's the kind of thing that they're going to be looking for. That's the kind of thing that they're going to be looking for here, guys.
Boy, Mark, I'm just really surprised by how aggressive these officers are. It seemed like they jumped right out as soon as they boxed him in there.
Pulled up very close, too, which you usually don't see.
Yeah, they're kind of hovering behind that SUV, but if we've got 3 people in the vehicle, this is extraordinarily dangerous.
Yeah, we're just going to stay northwest.
Okay, I'm not sure that Mark can
guys,
hear us.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't comment on everything that that you're speaking about here. We've got a lot of air traffic, as you might imagine, up here. So you can see more units of the LA County Sheriff's Department are now arriving on scene. This potentially a very dangerous situation in that we are in a public space, a public parking lot here. I don't have any, bystanders that I can see. However, we don't know that anyone's not in any of those vehicles here that are close by. So what we can see is that someone is now out of the driver door of that Buick. And it's hard to see. We're at 3,200 feet, guys. We're at 3,200 feet, so we're zoomed in as best we can. But now that
Yeah, it looks like a second
person is being directed over towards deputies, over towards the left rear of the Buick here. So hopefully over the course of the next couple of minutes here, we will see, in fact, how many suspects come out of that vehicle. Initial reports, again, had it at 3. So 1 driver and 2 passengers. With the driver out, hopefully that means that vehicle is definitely going to stay parked. But hopefully these guys come out peacefully. It certainly looks like that is the attempt to do exactly that here. So in that, they pulled into a parking lot, pulled into a parking stall, and are now peacefully giving up. That definitely bodes well for the Sheriff's Department here. Hopefully this will come to a peaceful ending. We'll just kind of follow this through over the course of the next couple of minutes and see, in fact, how they do this. That 1 driver is now taken into custody here. You can see him being led away by a deputy over towards that waiting cruiser. He will be placed in that cruiser when they are ready for that. But in the meantime, deputies are still facing the suspects, the additional suspects still coming out of the back seat of that white Buick here. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now, guys. They're going to want to see their hands. They're going to want to make sure that there aren't any quick movements, any fast movements, any reaching for anything that might pose a threat to deputies as they are trying to get this guy into custody here. So as you can see, 1 additional suspect is now separated from the car. He's now backing up to deputies with his hands up in the air. He is going to be releasing himself to the custody of the deputies here, and that is what is going on right now. So guns still drawn on the vehicle here, so there still may be more people. Right now, by our count, 2 people have come out of the vehicle here. By initial reports, as we mentioned here, there were 3, so let's see what happens here. It looks like perhaps a passenger coming out, but let's see how this unfolds here, guys. Let me send it back down to you.
All right, Mark is live overhead the end of this pursuit. This is Anaheim, California, Orangewood Avenue, and this driver of that white car you see with the doors open in the middle of your screen going extremely fast on surface streets, at least 2 people have been taken out of the car and into custody after they got kind of boxed in there.
Yeah, and it's our understanding this is actually the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department that took this pursuit all the way into Orange County. Usually they would turn that over to another department, a different jurisdiction. That didn't happen in this case. And as you said, they pulled up very close behind the vehicle. I thought what was surprising is when the driver got out, he very casually walked toward the sheriff's deputies, and it didn't look like he was walking backwards. It looked like he was walking, which is what they usually do. And now we see a third suspect with his hands up. He is backing out. That is usually the way you see these things go down. So I believe 2 suspects in custody, and this would be the third one, and hopefully the last one in the car. It is our understanding there were 3 suspects in the car. We assume this started in Los Angeles County. We don't have any information how this pursuit started, what the origins are, what crime they committed other than driving reckless. So now you see that third suspect now down on his knees, and he is being checked out for weapons, and he will be quickly handcuffed. And Mark, does it look like that's the last suspect, or is the body language of the deputy saying there may be somebody else?
Kind of, we're seeing what you're seeing, there, Glenn. Five's got both of you there over on the northwest or northeast. So, just moments ago, we did see someone's hands out of the right front door, so the passenger front door of that Buick here. But it's possible that Buick is parked a little bit too close to that silver car on its right here. So it's a possibility that that person came out of the right front passenger seat and had to climb over towards the driver's side and exit that way. So what might have been 4 people still remains 3 at this point, and they are actually in the process of clearing the vehicle at this point here. So it looks like that's the case. He just didn't have enough space to maneuver out of that Buick, out of the passenger side, so he had to climb through to the driver's side here, guys. So right now it's looking like 3 people. We have deputies clearing the cabin as well as the trunk of the car. And it looks like, based on what we're seeing there, it's 3 people, 3 suspects on this reckless driver pursuit that are now in custody.